Hello, this is Group 6 for IST302 Fall 2018. My name is Mitch. My group mates are...
Hi, my name is Shahoon Hio.
Hi, my name is Lindsay Schumacher.
My name is Archie. I'm part of Group 6.
I'm Eric.
Over the next few minutes, we'll be going over project time management.
Hi, my name is Shahoon Hio, and I'll be talking about planning schedule management. The first step into any project time management is planning how the schedule will be managed. It helps to bring out basic documents to initiate a project and states the start and end dates and everything in between. A schedule management plan includes the following aspects. Project schedule model development, which includes estimated durations, dependencies, and other planning information that can be used to create a schedule. Another aspect is level of accuracy and units of measure, which focuses on how accurate the schedule estimations are and what units to use, for example, years, months, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. The next aspect is control thresholds, which focuses on variance thresholds that are established to monitor schedule performance. The next aspect is rules of performance measurement, which focuses on how to determine the percentage of completed work between team members. Next is reporting formats, which focuses on describing the format and frequency of schedule reports required for this project. The final step is process descriptions, which focuses on describing how will all the schedule management processes be performed.
Hello, this is Mitch, and I will be going over the defining activities phase. During the defining activities phase, you will break down activities to identify their specific actions, the deliverables, the estimated resources and time required to complete the activities. Using this information, you will be able to create an activity list, activity attributes list, milestone list, and ultimately updates to the project management plan. Activity lists are simply Excel sheets with each activity required to complete a project. They should all have a name, a unique identifier, and a description. The activities attributes lists will further examine each of these activities for their requirements, the constraints, the resources, and the logical relationships between the predecessors and successors and the deadlines required for each activity. These activity attributes lists should align with your work breakdown structure or WBS and your WBS dictionary. Lastly, a milestone list describes significant event completions. These are usually groups of activities that are relevant to one another, such as the finalization of phase 1 of a building. Milestones help keep large projects in check.
The next topic in the discussion of time management is sequencing activities. In order to effectively sequence activities, their dependencies must be identified. An activity's dependency is its relationship to other activities within the scope of the project. Dependencies are categorized one of three different ways. Mandatory dependencies, also referred to at times as hard logic, are the physical or technical limitations that would prevent a project from progressing. An example of this would be the inability to test code before it's written. Discretionary dependencies, referred to at times as soft logic, have the potential to limit scheduling options. For example, the designing of a product cannot be started until the analysis has been completed. It would be counterintuitive to begin designing before the research and analysis phase have finished. Finally, external dependencies are non-project activities that affect the overall project scope. An example of this would be a delivery coming in late from an outside entity. Identifying dependencies within the scope of a project is essential to the planning phase. Without proper identification and sequencing of activities, some of the most useful tools in project management are unable to be used. One of the most used methods of organizing activities by sequence is a network diagram, sometimes referred to as a PERT chart. This diagram is a schematic display of the logical relationships among project activities. In these diagrams, activities are represented by lettered blocks referred to as nodes for this purpose. The activities added to the network diagram have been taken from the WBS or work breakdown structure and have been identified as having dependencies. The network diagrams are used to analyze an earliest time by which the project can be completed. This is known as critical path analysis. The critical path is the longest path through the network diagram, but also the shortest amount of time required to complete the project. Program Evaluation and Review Techniques, or PERT, is a method of addressing the risks associated with activity duration estimates. PERT was developed around the same time as the critical path method and is typically used in conjunction with it. PERT uses the time established by the critical path method for activities and accounts for the risk or uncertainty associated with each activity and adjusts the average time to reflect that. This is referred to as the PERT weight average. By using the PERT weight average, calculated by using the formula shown here, the total project duration estimate takes into account the risk or uncertainty in the individual activity estimates.
Now I'll be covering estimating activity resources. Before we can even start estimating the duration of each activity, you must have a good idea of a quantity and the types of resources that are being used and assigned for each activity. So the process of estimating the types of quantities and the materials being used in a human resource, equipments, and supplies that are required for each activity is known as activity resources. The successful utilization of these resources will help in estimate and assure that enough resources are being acquired without any waste of money or excessive expenditure. There are 6 inputs that are being used in the process of estimating activity resources: the activity list, activity attributes, organizational process, and many more. There are numbers of tools that also can be used and are utilized effectively in estimating the resources which is required, like expert judgment, published estimating data, project management software, and much more. After estimating activity resources, the main thing that we're going to cover is estimating activity durations. After working with the key stakeholders to define the activities and determine the dependencies and of the estimating the resources, the next process in the project time management is to estimate the duration of activities. It is important to note that the duration includes the actual amount of time that we have worked on the activity. So the estimate activity duration is the process of estimating the numbers of work periods needed to complete individual activities with estimated resources. This is with the start time to the end. The key benefit of this process is that it provides the amount of time each activity will take to complete, which is the major input in the development of schedule process in the time management.
The final process in time management is controlling the schedule. The primary goal of schedule control is to know the status of the schedule, influence the factors that can affect the schedule, identify changes to the schedule, and successfully manage those changes. Your project schedule should have already been approved by the stakeholders. This ensures that the schedule is realistic and that everyone involved feels confident they can accomplish their task on time. Managers must constantly stay on top of anything that deviates from the schedule. This can be done through the use of performance reviews, where managers inspect the completion of major deliverables to ensure the project stays on schedule. Employees should know the consequences of not meeting the timeline so they can prioritize their time to meet the needs of the project. Software can play an important role in the management of a project. The use of email and shared calendars, such as Microsoft Outlook, keeps everyone informed of both the progress of the project as well as any changes or shortcomings it may experience. Perhaps the most notable business scheduling software, Microsoft Project, has many features designed specifically for managing an enterprise-level project. However, it should be noted that these are tools designed to complement hands-on management. Before using any time management software, you should consider taking training on the software, as there are many automated features that allow you to spend less time on data entry and more time on project completion.